It was past midnight, and the road stretched out before me like an endless ribbon of black. The highway signs had grown fewer and fewer. Gas stations had vanished miles ago, and the little orange fuel light on my dashboard had been glowing for the last 30 minutes. I told myself I could make it. Just a few more miles. There had to be a station up ahead. But then the car began to stutter, a choking cough from the engine, a shiver through the steering wheel, and then silence. The headlights dimmed. The world went black. I was coasting on nothing but momentum until the car rolled to a complete stop. Right there, on the shoulder of Highway 16, I sat there, listening to the stillness. Not even a single car passed, only the occasional chirp of some unseen insect in the grass. I checked my phone, no service, of course. The air inside the car felt heavy, suffocating, so I stepped outside. The night air was cold, thick with the smell of damp asphalt. The moon, barely a sliver behind drifting clouds, and the trees on either side of the road, they leaned in like dark figures, watching. I popped the trunk, hoping maybe I had an old gas can. Nothing, only a blanket and a rusted jack. I leaned against the car, trying to decide, walk forward or back, which way was closer to civilization. That's when I saw it, headlights, far in the distance, creeping slowly down the road. Relief flooded through me, finally, someone who could help. I waved my arms as the truck approached. A pickup, old and battered, its headlights flickered unevenly. It slowed to a stop beside me. The driver leaned across the seat, and the window slid down with a screech. His face was hidden in shadow, but I could see his smile, wide, too wide. Ran out of gas? His voice was deep, gravelly. I nodded quickly. Yeah, do you know if there's a station nearby? The man chuckled. Not for miles, but I can give you a ride. Every instinct in me told me to say no, the way he grinned, the way he stared without blinking. But what choice did I have? Stay out here all night? Alone? I hesitated, then opened the door. The cab smelled of sweat and oil and something else, something metallic. The seat was torn. Duct tape held the fabric together, and on the floor I noticed stains, dark stains. Where you headed? He asked, pulling back onto the road. Nearest gas station, I muttered. He laughed again. Don't worry. I know a place. We drove in silence. The highway seemed to stretch forever. The trees pressed closer. The moon vanished behind clouds again. I kept glancing at him. His hands gripped the wheel too tightly, knuckles white, and his smile never faded. At one point, he turned and looked directly at me. Not at the road, just at me. You know, most folks don't take rides from strangers anymore. My throat went dry. Yeah, his eyes gleamed. Guess you're different. He didn't say anything else. Just kept driving and driving. Minutes turned into an hour. There should have been a station by now. There should have been something. Finally, I cleared my throat. How much longer? The man smiled wider. Not long. He turned off the highway. Down a narrow dirt road, the trees closed in like walls. Branches scraped against the truck. The engine roared in protest. My chest tightened. This doesn't look like a gas station. His laughter filled the cab, deep, cruel. You're right. It's not. The truck came to a stop. In front of a cabin, windows boarded, no lights inside. He shut off the engine and turned to me. That grin stretched impossibly wide now. End of the line. My hand darted for the door handle, but it wouldn't open. The lock was jammed. I looked back at him. He was holding something in his lap, a length of rope. He leaned closer, whispered so softly I could feel his breath on my ear. You should have stayed with your car?
The fuel gauge had been dropping for miles. Each tick downward felt like a countdown. I kept telling myself, just one more exit. There has to be a station. The highway stretched endlessly through the desert, flat, empty, no towns, no lights, only the hum of tires on asphalt, and the faint rattle in the dashboard. Then, the inevitable. The car jerked, the engine sputtered, and finally, silence. The vehicle rolled to a slow stop beneath the dying stars. I sat there, hands gripping the wheel. Breath shallow, listening to the wind sweep across the sand. No service on my phone, not even one bar. My eyes scanned the horizon, dark ridges of rock, a strip of road disappearing into forever. But then, far in the distance, a flicker of neon, a sign, gas, food, lodging, an arrow pointing to the next exit. Relief crashed over me. I could walk, maybe a mile, maybe 2. I grabbed my jacket, locked the car, and started down the shoulder. The night was silent, too silent. Not even insects. Just the crunch of gravel beneath my shoes, and the wind pressing against my back. The sign had promised light, but as I reached the exit ramp, the road bent into shadow. No cars passed, no sound but my footsteps. I followed the curve until I saw it. A small gas station. At least, it used to be. The sign flickered weakly. Half the letters were burned out. The windows were boarded. The lot was cracked with weeds. But one light was on, a buzzing fluorescent above the door. I hesitated. Every instinct screamed, "Don't go closer." But I needed gas. I needed help. The door creaked when I pushed it open. The bell above jingled faintly. Inside, dust. Shelves half empty, stale smell of oil and mildew, and behind the counter, a man. He looked up slowly, eyes pale, skin gray under the flickering light. "You're out of gas?" he asked. His voice was low, dry. I swallowed. "Yeah, I saw the sign, thought maybe..." He cut me off. "You'll need to wait. The pumps don't work right now." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "They only run at night." He smiled faintly. "And night isn't over yet." I glanced outside. It was night, pitch black. My skin prickled. "So when do they work?" His grin widened. "When it's time." I wanted to leave, to walk back to my car, but my legs felt heavy. "Maybe you should stay a while," he murmured. "There's company here." He gestured toward the back of the store. My eyes followed, and I froze. In the shadows between the shelves, something moved. Not a person. Not quite. A figure hunched low, limbs too long, fingers scraping the floor. Its head snapped toward me. Eyes glowed faintly in the dark. My chest tightened. I stumbled backward, nearly knocking over a display. The man behind the counter chuckled softly. "They come for the stranded. Always have." I bolted for the door. The bell screamed as I shoved it open. The night air hit me like ice. I sprinted toward the road, but the station lights behind me, they didn't fade. They followed, stretching across the asphalt like the glow was alive. And in the corner of my vision, figures crawled from the shadows, long arms, hollow faces, dozens of them. They scuttled along the edge of the highway, keeping pace with me, whispering, calling. "Stay, stay." I didn't look back. I just ran. But the road stretched on forever. The horizon never came closer. The whispers grew louder. And in that endless night, I realized something. The gas station had never been real. The sign, the light, the man, the creatures, all of it, was waiting for people like me. People out of gas, people stranded, bait, and I had taken it.
It started with a quiet drive, rain tapping against the windshield, the highway slick with water. The gas light blinked faintly, then stayed on. I cursed under my breath. I had been meaning to fill up, but I had been too distracted. Too late now. I scanned the horizon. A dim glow in the distance. A gas station. It looked open, or it looked like it wanted me to think it was. The car coughed, then jerked, then rolled to a stop. I tried the ignition again. Nothing. Just the weak hum of electronics. I sighed, pulled on my rain jacket, and stepped into the pouring rain. The neon sign flickered, half of the letters dead. Inside, the air smelled of wet carpet and oil. The bell jingled as I pushed the door. No one came to greet me. I called out, "Hello?" Nothing but the hum of the fluorescent lights. Then I heard it, a low tapping from the back of the store. I froze. The sound echoed, like fingernails against metal. I told myself it was nothing. A rat, maybe. But my gut screamed, "Turn back." I walked slowly toward the sound. Shelves of dusty snacks, empty bottles rattling in the corner. The tapping grew louder, closer, and then a voice, soft, whistling, calling my name. "Hey, come here." I spun around. No one. My heart raced. I wanted to run, but my legs felt heavy, like the floor was sticky. Then I saw it. A figure crouched behind the counter. Tall, thin, wet hair plastered to its face, eyes black, reflecting the flickering light. I stumbled back, tripped, hit the floor with a wet thud. The figure moved closer, silent, predatory. I scrambled toward the door, fingers gripping the handle. But the door wouldn't budge. I felt something brush my shoulder, cold, wet, and then a whisper. "You shouldn't have come." I slammed my forehead into the glass panel beside the door. It cracked, but the door still wouldn't open. Rain poured in through the broken windows. Thunder shook the building. I could hear footsteps all around me, and the whispering growing louder. I dove behind a shelf, breath ragged, heart pounding. The figure moved past me, its shadow stretching across the floor. I peeked and saw dozens more, emerging from the darkness, tall, thin, wet, their faces twisted, their eyes hungry. I realized then they were attracted to the stranded, to the ones out of gas, to the ones alone. I screamed. They turned, slowly, head tilting unnaturally. I tried the door again. Nothing. And then, a voice behind me. "Better stay with us." I closed my eyes, prayed, and ran into the storm outside. The rain swallowed me. The highway stretched endlessly. And the figures, they followed, from every shadow, from every puddle, from every dark corner of the world. I didn't stop. I couldn't. And I knew the highway would never let me go.